Morning. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this fabulous Saturday. That's right, it's Saturday and I'm having a non-uniform day because it's 30 degrees C outside. Yes, that's right. We have the whole summer holidays in the UK where it's raining, and then as all the schools and people go back to normal, the sun decides to come out, but only for a couple of days. Anyway, that's your weather update. Bet you didn't come here for a weather update, did you? You came here for meat and potatoes. So before we crack on to our primary reason for the video, let's touch on two little things, and that is the Georgian Kayla case, which is the other Idaho 4 case. There is stuff moving in the direction of cameras in that case as well, and currently we are seeing cameras being allowed in the courtroom in that case. Now, you know what the excuses were in the main Idaho 4 case. Some of the excuses surrounding, the young victims, so on and so forth, and we've got young victims in that case as well. But there we go. And we've also got Drip Drop over at Crime Circus, who has been digging around in the financials around the Idaho 4 case to find that the University of Idaho was given an additional $1 million to help with this case, and he found that around $60,000 of that was spent on food and lodgings. Didn't they not use sort of, I don't know, local people? And why would that be paid? I don't know. I would say that the overall sum of $1 million for investigations into this kind of thing are probably nothing, really. The drop in the ocean in the grander scheme of things. But one thing what does make me laugh, what not many people are talking about, is the fact that Ann Taylor is a public defender. She's a public defender who is likely, because of now the delays in this case, she will potentially be a multi-millionaire by the end of this case, now that it has been delayed, possibly forever. We may not ever get a result in the Idaho 4 case. They could be filing, I don't know, notification after notification. They could be filing for this, that, and the other for the next 30 years, for all we know, and someone could just be getting money all the way down the road. But who's that? That's me being sceptical, I guess. I'm sure that they'll sort it out. I'm sure that they are all trustworthy, and they will, we'll see it done properly in the end. But anyway, what are we here for? What are we talking about today? I was having a conversation with someone about the Bryan Kohberger case, and it's one of these things where I showed them two pictures, and they were the two pictures that were in the thumbnail. And it was like, look, if I showed you this photo, what do you think of this guy? And they gave me what they thought of him. Could this guy be a killer? And they were like, no, well, he looks quite confident. He looks very, very confident. And then I showed him the other one, and it was like, he looks angry as fuck and looks like he's ready to kill someone there. And even though we kind of had a bit of a laugh about it because of how, I guess, in that little interaction surrounding those two photographs, it was an insight into how damaging cameras in the courtroom can be. So there is definitely an argument for the fact that cameras in the courtroom could affect Bryan Kohberger and his ability to obtain a fair trial. If indeed the jury and everyone around this case are getting access to what is being put out by the media during the trial, and it's done in kind of this live, unable to edit, redact anything, it's all going out as it is. Because on one hand, you can say that Bryan Kohberger looks like this guy who is confident, exudes confidence, and then on another picture, he may look like someone who does indeed want to kill someone. And if they market that image in the right manner, then you've got yourself a killer. But there is an underlying thing with Bryan Kohberger and the way he has been in the courtrooms. And look, I'm not no expert when it comes to looking at body language and what people do, but I'm also not an idiot. And I think we all have the ability to look at someone and have our thoughts and feelings about them. And in fact, it was something that I said yesterday, and it was about that feelings don't get you results. Facts and evidence get you results. And too many people do become emotionally affected by the way that they may look at something, especially something like the Idaho 4 case. But we've seen enough trials and seen enough people go through the system when they've been arrested for, a crime of passion, for instance, or a crime where someone was jealous, or a rage-fueled, crime, or that they were ill. They were, mental illness was involved. And when you look at Bryan Kohberger, I don't get that from him. When you look at him, he does seem confident. He does look incredibly confident when he goes in that courtroom. And, even though that doesn't really give you a lot of information about what is going on in his mind, I think it does tell you a lot about him as a person. Because this is a very, very stressful and scary situation to be in. He is going into this case potentially to lose his life at the end of it. But when you see him, he doesn't look like an individual who is going through that. So I ask you to make a decision on what you think about it. When you see the way that Bryan Kohberger does hold himself inside the courtroom, when he does indeed sit there with this confidence, or he does come into the room and he does look angry almost, is that because he is an innocent man? Is that because he is an innocent man who feels that he is able to get out of this situation that he is in, and he is showing signs of frustration about the things that he has been put through and being put through, and that they are having to battle? Or are we watching someone who is just a psychopath? Because I don't think that there is anything, even if Bryan did the crime, even if he is guilty of the crime, I think the way he carries himself in court is an indication that this is nothing to do with a lovesick puppy or someone who was bullied and snapped. He seems incredibly in control. He seems someone who is able to be in charge and to control how he thinks and how he feels. I don't know how you lot who have been watching him and has been paying close attention, how you feel that his mannerisms truly, I don't know, how what you see in Bryan Kohberger can be translated into what you think you know about him, whether you think he's guilty or whether you think that he's innocent. How does what he looks like affect that feeling? How does that influence how you think and feel about him? Again, in the upcoming weeks, we will learn whether there will indeed be cameras being able to stream in the court. I believe that they have now made a decision, or that the word is that they're going to allow like a pool system where they will indeed allow recording, potentially cameras in there what will be recording and then shared with media. I don't know the truth in that. That's what some people have emailed me and said. The Majorge and Kayla case, again, a lot of that is the same, where they are allowed to actually broadcast in that, but some of that is being done in a pool as well. So some have been agreed to be able to record it, but then they have to share it with other media sources. But this is a case that has gripped everybody. There is so much thought and feeling out there, so many people who can't let go of this case. They want to see it all the way through. But I just found it very interesting to be able to speak to someone and show them two pictures of the same guy, but then they go off and they have very, very different thoughts and feelings about him. And it was a bit of an eye-opener to think that that's how much that just one picture can influence someone's mindset surrounding Bryan Kohberger and what they feel that he is capable of doing. But again, I'd look at Bryan and I do not see someone who has done this crime, and he's done it for the reasons that have been pushed by the likes of Ken Maines, that this is someone who was fixated on Maddie and this was a targeted crime. I don't see that in Bryan. But the scary thing is I do see elements of Ted Bundy and that kind of mannerisms about him where he is in control. He does exude confidence, and that's something to consider. I don't think I would be surprised either way if he was found innocent or if he was found guilty at this stage. I rarely am. On the fence. How about you? I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic weekend, and I shall catch you all in the next one.